Ever wondered what lurks in the shadows of abandoned hospitals? In 2025, the UK's darkest secrets rise again. From cursed corridors to ghostly nurses trapped in time, these 15 haunted hospitals hide real stories of terror. Imagine phantom patients screaming from empty wards, unseen hands gripping your arm, and faces staring from broken windows. We've uncovered chilling truths, suffering souls, unsolved deaths, and horrors that defy reason. These walls remember every scream. Are you ready to walk where the dead still roam? Hit play if you dare. But be warned, once you see the truth, you'll never sleep the same one. Royal Shrewsbury Hospital. The Royal Shrewsbury Hospital in Shropshire is one of the UK's most haunted hospitals. Built in the 1970s, it hides dark secrets older than its walls. Staff and visitors have shared spine-chilling stories for decades. Many report seeing a white lady wandering the corridors. She appears suddenly, dressed in old-fashioned nurse clothing, then vanishes. Some say she's the ghost of a nurse who died tragically in the 1800s. Others believe she's searching for lost patients. Night workers hear her footsteps echoing in empty halls, followed by whispers no one can explain. In the maternity ward, a shadowy figure startles new mothers. A nurse once saw a pale face staring through a window, but the room was on the 4th floor. When she rushed to check, no one was there. Patients also wake to feel invisible hands gripping their arms, only to find no one nearby. The hospital's oldest wing is the most haunted. Lights flicker for no reason. Cold spots freeze the air, even in summer. Security guards have quit after spotting a man in gray lurking in empty rooms. One guard swore he saw the figure walk through a wall. A patient once told a story of waking up to a child crying near her bed. She followed the sound to a dark hallway, but the cries stopped. When she turned back, a small handprint glowed on the wall, then faded away. Despite its modern equipment, the hospital's past lingers. Workers say the ghosts are harmless, but never alone. Doors slam shut. Machines turn on by themselves. Even skeptics admit feeling watched. Is it just fear, or something more? The Royal Shrewsbury Hospital keeps its secrets, but those who walk its halls at night know the dead may still walk here. To Brookwood Hospital, Surrey. The Brookwood Hospital in Surrey, closed since 1994, was once a mental asylum with a terrifying past. Built in the 1800s, its dark halls saw years of suffering. Today, locals say the abandoned buildings are filled with restless spirits. Visitors report a gray lady haunting the old wards. She's described as a thin, shadowy figure in torn clothes. Some believe she was a patient who died alone. Others say she paces the corridors, crying softly. Explorers have seen her vanish into walls or disappear down staircases that no longer exist. In the old treatment rooms, cold spots freeze the air suddenly. People feel hands brushing their shoulders, but when they turn, nothing's there. Footsteps follow visitors, even when they're alone. One photographer claimed a shadowy face appeared in his camera lens, though the room was empty. The basement is the most feared area. Workers once heard screams echoing from below, but found no one. A security guard quit after seeing red eyes glowing in the dark. Others say they've heard children laughing, even though no children were ever treated here. Strange symbols are scratched into the walls. Some say patients left them as warnings. In one room, the words, "Help me," appear in dust, wiped away one day, only to return the next. A former nurse shared a story from the 1980s. She swore she saw a patient standing at the end of a hallway, a man who had died weeks earlier. When she blinked, he was gone, but the smell of medicine lingered. Nature avoids this place. Birds refuse to nest here. Plants die near the windows. Even in sunlight, the air feels heavy, like something is watching. Is the land cursed, or are the tortured souls of Brookwood still trapped? No one knows. But those who dare enter swear you never leave truly alone. 3 Seacliffe Lunatic Asylum, Scotland. Seacliffe Lunatic Asylum, hidden in the Scottish cliffs near Edinburgh, is called the most haunted place in Scotland. Opened in 1874, this crumbling ruin was once a prison for the mentally ill. Patients faced cruel treatments, and many never left alive. Locals say the ghosts of tortured souls still scream at night. Visitors hear whispers in empty rooms, words like escape or pain. Some see shadowy figures staring from broken windows. Others feel sudden cold, even on warm days, as if icy fingers touch their skin. The basement is the worst. Dark, damp, and filled with rusted chains, it's where troubled patients were locked away. People report hearing sobs here. One explorer saw a pale woman in a torn gown crawling on the floor. When he tried to help, she vanished, but scratch marks appeared on the walls. In the old treatment rooms, equipment moves by itself. A photographer once captured a ghostly face in a mirror, a man with hollow eyes. Workers restoring the building quit after tools went missing, only to find them later, placed in strange patterns. A famous story involves a patient named Annie. Nurses said she set her room on fire to escape. Now, visitors smell smoke near her old room. Some see a girl in a burnt dress running down halls, screaming. Lights flicker when she's near. Even animals fear Seacliffe. Dogs growl at empty corners. Birds fly away from the roof. A TV crew filming here fled when their cameras broke. And a voice whispered, "Leave," on their recordings. No one stays after sunset. The wind sounds like cries. Shadows move without light. Is it the cliffs playing tricks, or the trapped souls of Seacliffe? The asylum keeps its horrors locked tight, but the walls remember, and the dead never sleep. 4. Canehill Hospital, Coulsdon. Canehill Hospital, abandoned since 1991, sits rotting in Coulsdon. Opened in 1883, this massive asylum once held over 2,000 mental patients. Its crumbling walls hide stories of pain and madness, and many say the dead still walk here. Visitors hear screams echoing from empty rooms. Shadows dart behind broken windows. Some see a lady in black floating near the old chapel. She's said to be a nurse who hanged herself in the 1920s. Others claim she's searching for patients she failed to save. The mortuary is the most haunted spot. Workers reported body bags moving on their own. A security guard once found footprints in dust, leading to a locked freezer. When he opened it, the room turned icy, and a voice growled, "Get out." He never returned. In the patient wards, people feel hands grabbing their ankles from under beds. A photographer saw a face pressed against a window, mouth stretched in a silent scream. But the building's upper floors are too damaged to reach. Strange things happen in the clock tower. Locals say it stopped working the day the hospital closed. Yet, at 3 a.m., its bell sometimes rings, a time linked to patient deaths. Explorers have recorded ghostly whispers here, begging for help. A former worker shared a creepy story. In the 1980s, he saw a patient staring at a wall, repeating, "They're coming." Later, he found out the man had died in that spot years earlier. Demolition crews refuse to touch the site. Tools go missing. Machinery breaks down. Even weeds grow twisted here. At night, lights flicker in empty rooms, as if someone's still inside. Was Cane Hill cursed by its past, or are the lost souls of its patients trapped forever? The hospital is nearly gone now, but the ghosts, they're not leaving. 5. Graylingwell Hospital, Chichester. Graylingwell Hospital in Chichester opened in 1903 as a place to treat mental illnesses. After closing in 2003, its empty halls became a playground for ghosts. Locals say the spirits of patients and nurses never left. In the old wards, visitors hear footsteps pacing the corridors. Shadows dart behind doorways, and some see figures sitting on rusted beds. A nurse in a white uniform is often spotted. She glides past rooms, then fades into walls. Workers repairing the building once heard a voice whisper, "Why are you here?" But the room was empty. The hospital's chapel is filled with dread. People feel icy air wrap around them, even on sunny days. A woman's voice sings hymns softly, but stops when anyone enters. One explorer took a photo of the altar. Later, a blurred face appeared in the shot, eyes wide and staring. Deep underground tunnels connect the buildings. These passageways echo with whispers. Visitors feel hands tugging their clothes or breath on their necks. A security guard patrolling here once saw a tall, shadowy man blocking his path. When he shone his light, the figure vanished, but heavy footsteps chased him outside. In the abandoned treatment rooms, the smell of old medicine lingers. People report sudden headaches or nausea, as if the air is poisoned. A visitor once saw a child's handprint appear on a dusty window, then fade like smoke. Clocks in the hospital often stop at 3:15 a.m., a time linked to patient deaths. Night workers hear faint crying or laughter. One man claimed a ghostly figure followed him home, and his lights flickered for weeks. Is Graylingwell haunted by memories or something darker? The hospital is slowly being torn down. But the ghosts, they refuse to leave. 6 St Thomas's Hospital, London. St Thomas's Hospital in London, one of the oldest hospitals in the UK, has stood by the River Thames since the 1100s. Though it's still a working hospital, its ancient corridors hold ghostly secrets. Many believe the dead never left. Patients and staff report seeing Florence Nightingale, the famous nurse, wandering the halls at night. Her ghost glides through walls, holding a lamp. Some say she checks on the sick, just like she did when alive. Others claim she disappears when approached, leaving a cold breeze behind. The hospital's old operating theaters are haunted by screams. Visitors hear cries of pain, though the rooms are empty. A cleaner once saw bloodstains appear on the floor, then vanish. In the morgue, workers hear dragging sounds like bodies being moved, but no one is there. A ghostly child in a white gown is often seen in the oldest wards. She hides under beds or peeks around corners. Nurses have followed her, only to find empty rooms. One doctor swore he felt tiny hands tug his coat, but the hallway was silent. The World War II bombing tunnels beneath the hospital are the scariest. Visitors feel sudden dread here. Voices whisper names. Shadows crawl on the walls. A security guard once fled after seeing a figure in a torn uniform, glowing faintly in the dark. Even modern floors have odd happenings. Machines beep with no power. Lights flicker in empty rooms. Patients wake to see a gray doctor standing at their bedside, staring silently. When they blink, he's gone. Is it history echoing, or ghosts? St. Thomas's Hospital keeps saving lives, but after dark, the line between the living and the dead blurs. Some say the walls remember every scream. 7. Whittingham Asylum, Lancashire. Whittingham Asylum in Lancashire opened in 1873 and grew into one of England's largest mental hospitals. Closed in 1995, its abandoned buildings are now crumbling, but locals say the screams of patients still echo here. Visitors report a whispering ward where voices hiss from empty rooms. Words like "help us" or "why" follow people down dark halls. Some claim shadowy figures crawl on the ceiling, watching silently. Others feel sudden tugs on their clothes, as if someone is pulling them back. The old children's ward is haunted by laughter. Explorers hear kids giggling in the distance, but the sound turns to crying as they get closer. A photographer once saw tiny handprints appear on a dusty window, then vanish. In the chapel, people hear organ music playing, though the instrument is broken. The underground tunnels are the most feared. Workers once used these passages to move patients. Now, visitors feel cold hands grab their ankles in the dark. Footsteps race behind them, but no one is there. A security guard quit after seeing a group of shadowy figures huddled in a corner, chanting. Stories tell of a nurse named Mary who drowned in a hospital bath. Her ghost is seen in the empty bathrooms, holding a rusted key. She points to doors that lead nowhere. Visitors who follow her say the air turns icy, and they hear splashing water. But the rooms are dry. In the abandoned cemetery nearby, graves are unmarked. Locals say figures wander here at night, digging at the dirt. Dogs bark at invisible threats. Even birds avoid the trees. Demolition crews tried to tear Whittingham down, but tools broke. Workers fell ill. Some say the land is cursed by the suffering of thousands. Are the ghosts angry? Trapped? No one knows. But one thing is clear. Whittingham's horrors didn't end with its closure. The walls remember, and the dead are waiting. 8. The Nightingale Hospital, London. The Nightingale Hospital in London, once a place of healing, now hides ghostly secrets. Opened in the 1800s, it was named after Florence Nightingale, but staff say her spirit, or something darker, still walks the halls. Patients report waking to a lady in blue standing by their beds. She wears an old-fashioned nurse's uniform and holds a flickering lamp. Some say she checks their pulse, then vanishes. Others scream as her face melts into shadows. Night nurses hear her footsteps, slow and heavy, outside empty rooms. The basement is avoided by workers. Voices whisper from the darkness, begging for help. A cleaner once saw wet footprints leading to a locked storage room. Inside, she found nothing but a puddle of icy water and the smell of rotting flowers. In the therapy rooms, shadows move on their own. A doctor once saw a patient's reflection in a window, but the real patient was asleep. Mirrors crack for no reason. Clocks stop at 2:12 a.m., a time linked to a nurse's suicide in the 1920s. The old surgery wing is the creepiest. Lights flicker, and tools rattle in closed drawers. A surgeon swore he felt a cold hand guiding his own during an operation. When he turned, no one was there. But the patient later said, "Who was the woman in blue watching us?" Visitors feel watched in the gardens. Statues seem to turn their heads. A security camera once caught a figure in a long dress floating past trees, but the ground was snow-covered and there were no footprints. Even during renovations, workers quit. Drills broke, paint peeled off walls like burned skin. Some say Florence Nightingale's ghost protects the hospital. Others warn it's something else, a spirit angry at being forgotten. The Nightingale still treats patients today, but after dark, the air grows heavy. Whispers fill empty halls. And the lady in blue. She's always waiting, just out of sight. 9 Denbigh Asylum, North Wales. Denbigh Asylum in North Wales opened in 1848, a place meant to heal minds. Instead, it became a house of horrors. Closed in 1995, its broken windows and cracked walls now hide ghosts of patients who suffered here. Visitors hear screams echoing from empty rooms. Shadows dart through corridors, vanishing around corners. Many report a gray nurse in old-fashioned clothes, her face pale and stern. She's seen pushing an empty wheelchair or staring from upper windows. Some say she's searching for lost patients. Others warn she's angry and doesn't like strangers. The mortuary chills even brave explorers. Tools clatter in the dark. A rotting smell fills the air, though nothing is there. One photographer saw a body-shaped shadow on a table. When he approached, the shadow sat up, then dissolved into mist. In the treatment rooms, people feel sudden pain, headaches, burns, or the sense of being held down. Voices whisper, "hurt," or "why," in their ears. A group once heard loud bangs, like doors slamming, but every door was open. The clock tower is cursed. Locals say it's frozen at 3:33 a.m., the hour many patients died. Yet, visitors sometimes hear ticking, growing faster, louder, until it stops. A worker restoring the tower found scratches inside the clock, names of patients long gone. Deep underground, secret tunnels twist like a maze. Here, the air feels thick. Footsteps follow visitors. One man claimed a hand grabbed his ankle, pulling him down. He escaped, but his boot was torn, and covered in mud no one else had stepped in. Stories tell of a patient named Evan, who swore demons lived in the walls. He died screaming, clawing at the floor. Now, scratch marks appear overnight. Voices laugh in empty rooms. Demolition teams avoid Denbigh. Machines fail. Workers fall sick. Some say the land is poisoned by sadness. Others believe the ghosts fight to stay. The asylum crumbles, but its ghosts, they're wide awake, and they don't want company. 10 Hartwood Hospital, Scotland. Hartwood Hospital in Scotland opened in 1895 as a mental asylum, surrounded by lonely forests. Closed in 2001, its empty buildings now rot in silence. But locals say the silence is an illusion. The ghosts of patients and staff are far from quiet. Visitors hear banging from boarded-up windows. Shadows dart across broken glass. Many report a scratching man in the old wards. He's seen hunched in corners, clawing at walls until his fingers bleed. When approached, he vanishes, leaving deep marks in the plaster. Some say he was a patient kept in chains. Others warn he's still searching for a way out. The basement is the most feared place. The air smells like medicine and rot. Explorers hear whispers saying, "Don't look down." One man ignored the warning and saw a pale face staring up from under the floor grates. When he screamed, the face smiled, then sank into darkness. In the treatment rooms, cold spots freeze visitors' breath. Tools fly off shelves. A photographer once saw a bed shake violently, as if someone invisible was fighting straps. Seconds later, the room went silent. But a handprint appeared on the dusty mattress. The hospital's clock tower is broken, but at night, its bell sometimes rings. Workers restoring the building found old patient records hidden in the walls. Names were scratched out, except one, Alice, a nurse who vanished in 1947. Visitors now see her ghost in the tower, holding a lantern. She points to the forest, where her body was found years later. The cemetery nearby has unmarked graves. Figures wander here at dusk, digging at the dirt. Dogs bark at nothing. A TV crew filming here caught a voice on tape. They buried us deep, but we're still here. Nature rejects Hartwood. Trees grow twisted. No birds sing. Even rain feels heavier here. Demolition teams refuse to touch the site. Machines break. Workers hear laughter in empty rooms. Is it the land, the past, or the trapped souls of Hartwood? The hospital stands crumbling, but its ghosts, they're wide awake, and they want to be heard. 11 West Park Hospital, Surrey. West Park Hospital in Surrey opened in 1923 as a mental asylum, housing thousands of patients until it closed in 2003. Now, its empty buildings sag under ivy and rot. But locals warn, the patients never left. Visitors hear whispers in the crumbling wards. Words like help or run hiss from the walls. Shadow figures dart behind doorways. Some see a tall man in a black coat, standing at the end of dark halls. When approached, he vanishes, leaving the smell of burnt flesh behind. The underground tunnels are filled with dread. Air turns icy here. Explorers hear chains rattling and muffled screams. A photographer once saw a woman in a torn gown crawling toward him. He ran, but later found her face in his photos, eyes black and empty. In the abandoned chapel, voices sing hymns at midnight. The pews are dusty, yet footsteps creak the floor. A worker restoring the building saw a shadowy figure kneel at the altar. When he called out, it turned, revealing no face. The mortuary is worse. Doors slam shut on their own. Visitors feel breath on their necks, but no one's there. One man claimed a corpse's hand grabbed his ankle. He broke free, but found 5 finger-shaped bruises later. Stories tell of patient 23, a man who set fire to his room. Now, burn marks appear on walls overnight. Visitors smell smoke in empty halls. Some hear laughter echoing from scorched rooms. Clocks in the hospital stop at 4:17 a.m., a time linked to mass patient deaths. Night guards hear gurneys rolling in empty corridors. One saw a gurney move on its own, carrying a shadowy shape under a blood-stained sheet. Demolition crews avoid West Park. Tools go missing. Machines spark and die. Even ivy grows strangely here, twisting into shapes like screaming faces. Is it the building, the land, or the trapped souls of those forgotten? West Park's ruins may crumble, but its ghosts, they're still alive, and they're angry. 12 Napsbury Hospital, Hertfordshire. Napsbury Hospital in Hertfordshire opened in 1905 as a mental asylum, surrounded by quiet fields. Closed in the 1990s, its empty buildings now sag under vines and decay. But those who dare enter say the silence is a lie. Visitors hear whispers in the broken halls. Names are called out in empty rooms. Some see a nurse in white floating through walls, her face blurred. She's often spotted near the old surgery wing, holding a syringe. Workers say she follows them, but when they turn, she's gone. The children's ward chills the bravest souls. Toys move on their own. A rocking chair creaks. Dolls turn their heads. A photographer once heard a child giggle behind him. His camera later showed a small hand gripping his jacket, but no child was there. Deep underground tunnels connect the buildings. Here, the air feels thick. Visitors hear chains dragging and muffled screams. One explorer swore he saw a man in a straitjacket running toward him, then vanishing into mist. The smell of old medicine lingers, making throats burn. The clock tower is broken, but at night, its hands sometimes spin wildly. Locals say it stops at 2:34 a.m., the time a nurse jumped from the tower in 1957. workers restoring the site found scratches inside the clock. They're watching. In the abandoned chapel, shadows kneel and pray. Hymns play from nowhere, voices cracking like old records. A cleaner once saw wet footprints leading to the altar, but the floor was dry. Demolition crews avoid Napsbury. Tools vanish. Machines crash. Even animals stay away. Birds won't nest here, and stray dogs whine at the gates. Is it the building's tragic past, or souls trapped in endless pain? The hospital crumbles, but its ghosts, they're still alive, and they don't want to be forgotten. 13 St. Mary's Hospital, London Street, Mary's Hospital in London, founded in 1845, is still busy saving lives today. But its oldest wings hide darker tales. Staff say the dead walk here, trapped between worlds. The old operating theaters are haunted by phantom sounds. Nurses hear scalpels clattering in empty rooms. Patients in recovery swear they see a gray surgeon standing over them, holding rusty tools. When they blink, he's gone, but the smell of antiseptic lingers. In the morgue, workers report icy drafts and whispers. One cleaner saw a body bag slide off a table by itself. When she checked, the zipper was still closed. Others hear knocking from inside locked freezer drawers, as if someone's begging to get out. The pathology lab is known for chaos. Machines turn on at night. Test tubes shatter unseen. A doctor once found pages of patient records scattered, all dated 1918, the year of a deadly flu pandemic. Names matched real victims buried nearby. A famous ghost is Nurse Alice, who worked here in the 1940s. She's seen pushing an empty wheelchair through empty halls. Visitors hear her humming lullabies near the children's ward. But when they follow, she vanishes, leaving a trail of cold air. The abandoned West Wing is the scariest. Boards creak, shadows dart behind broken windows. Security guards hear children laughing in empty rooms. One guard saw a boy in old-fashioned pajamas waving from a window, a floor that's been sealed off for years. Even modern areas aren't safe. Lights flicker. Elevators stop between floors. A patient once screamed that a man in a mask choked her, but no one else was there. Is it stress or something older? St. Mary's keeps healing the living. But at night, the past wakes up. Not all patients leave, and some doctors never clock out. 14 Addington Hospital, South Croydon. Addington Hospital in South Croydon opened in 1879, once a busy place of healing. Closed in 2016, its empty halls now echo with ghostly whispers. Staff say the hospital's dark past of pain and loss left scars that never faded. The old morgue is a hotspot for terror. Workers report freezer doors slamming shut alone. A cleaner once saw a gurney roll across the room, with no one pushing it. Visitors feel sudden cold, like walking through ice. Some hear faint sobs, but the room stays empty. In the abandoned operating theater, phantom screams echo. Shadowy figures huddle over invisible patients. A nurse working late swore she saw a surgeon in blood-stained robes holding a rusty scalpel. When she blinked, he vanished, but the smell of decay lingered. The children's ward chills the bravest. Toys rattle in empty cribs. Visitors hear giggles turn to cries. A security guard once followed a child's voice to a locked room. Peeking inside, he saw tiny handprints glow on the wall, then fade like smoke. A famous ghost is the Headless Orderly. Legend says he died moving bodies during a World War II air raid. Now, visitors hear heavy footsteps in empty halls. Some see a headless figure pushing a rusty cart. Others find wet, bloody footprints leading nowhere. Even modern wings aren't safe. Lights flicker at 3 a.m., a time linked to patient deaths. Machines beep without power. Patients claim a gray nurse checks their IVs at night, but nurses deny it. Demolition plans stalled. Tools broke. Walls oozed black liquid. Workers quit after hearing growls in dark corners. Locals say the land is cursed by wartime tragedies. Is it grief trapped in stone, or souls refusing to rest? Addington's buildings may fade, but its ghosts, they're still on duty, and they don't clock out. 15. The London Hospital, Whitechapel. The London Hospital in Whitechapel, founded in 1740, is one of the oldest hospitals in the UK. Though still active, its ancient wings hide ghostly secrets. Many believe the spirits of patients, and even famous figures, never left. The old operating theaters are haunted by phantom screams. Nurses hear scalpels clinking in empty rooms. Visitors feel icy drafts, as if invisible surgeons crowd around them. A doctor once saw a shadowy figure in 1800s clothing leaning over an empty table, holding a rusted saw. The mortuary chills the bravest. Workers hear knocking from inside closed drawers. One night guard found bloody handprints on the floor, but they faded by morning. Others smell rotting flesh, though the rooms are clean. The hospital's most famous ghost is linked to Joseph Merrick, the Elephant Man. His preserved skeleton is kept here. Staff hear heavy, limping footsteps near his old room. Some see a twisted shadow peeking through doorways. A cleaner once heard a raspy voice whisper, "Help me." But the room was empty. In the World War II bomb shelters below, visitors feel sudden dread. Voices echo names of dead soldiers. A nurse once saw a glowing figure in a torn uniform sitting on a bench. When she approached, it vanished, leaving a pool of cold water. Even modern wards have odd happenings. Machines beep with no power. Patients wake to see a Victorian nurse checking their pulse. She smiles, then disappears. Lights flicker at midnight, a time linked to Merrick's death. Demolition teams avoid the oldest wings. Tools break. Walls ooze black liquid. Workers hear growls in dark corners. Locals say the land is cursed by centuries of suffering. Is it history, or something darker? The London Hospital still saves lives, but at night, the past wakes up. The dead don't rest here, and Joseph Merrick, some say he's still searching for peace.